Welcome! I recently posted Self-Love Part 3 on my blog, In Love All Are One. And in this post I talk about my journey towards greater responsibility for what I feel, what I think, essentially for the world around me. I also ask the question as to why any of us would want to create experiences for ourselves that are traumatic or painful, especially if they're ongoing. I thought I'd seek to answer that question in this format instead of the written word. And I'd also like to ask another question, and seek to answer that one, as to why any of us would want to undertake this journey towards greater self-love. 2012 was a year of major changes for me. The relationship that I was in at the time came to an end, or perhaps better said, we decided to go our separate ways. The job that I had was also coming to an end. I felt that I'd gone as far as I could within the organisation, and there are a number of changes that just didn't feel right for me, so I decided to put my resignation in and move on. The place that I was renting was also coming up for sale, so I had about 3 weeks to move out and find a new home. This happened quite quickly, and I've been living in the same home now for the last couple of years. All of these 3 events happened within a few weeks of each other, and they really hit me hard in terms of my sense of self, my sense of self-worth, self-value, self-love. And I began to question everything, who I was, what did I do to deserve this, what am I going to do next? It took me about 6 months to slowly work through all of that, to process that, and to reach a place where I felt that I could stand on my own feet again. And in all honesty, there were times that I'd wished it was all over, that the pain was just too much. This constant cyclical pain was getting to a point where I just wanted to leave it all behind. So why would I want to create something so traumatic and heartbreaking and gut-wrenching as those experiences? I've reached a place now where I can look back on them and come to a greater understanding of them and why I created them. And that's really the theme of the post that I made on self-love, is that in reality I'm responsible for all that I see around me, all that I feel, all that I think, the world that exists around me. I can see that the experiences that I had in 2012, and indeed experiences that I had before then and experiences that I've had since then, each and every one of them has created opportunities for me to expand, to grow, to become perhaps more of who I am, my true, authentic self. They've shaped me into the person that you see before you today. And when I think back to the relationship that I was in 2012 and the person that I was with, I know with all that I am that that person, that connection that I shared with them, has made me a better Gio, a better person, on so many levels and in so many ways. It really started my journey dedicatedly, if I can put it that way, towards self-love, greater self-awareness and understanding. And it fills me with such love and appreciation for that person, for the connection that we shared, for all the experiences that I had that year and have ever had. Because I know that they have contributed to me. And I hope in some way that I've contributed to the others with whom I had those experiences, with whom I shared those connections. So as painful and as traumatic as they were, I know that everything that we experience is for our benefit, for our greater good, to put it another way. And to explain a bit more about my journey towards greater self-love, I've reached a place now where I've realised that in many of my relationships, many of my previous relationships, I so often sought to have my needs met externally through the connections I shared with someone, through the circumstances or situations that I was in, to the point where in my personal relationships there were often elements of codependency, and at the very least such pressure on the other person, on myself and on the connection we shared, that it became uncomfortable. And there's no judgment there, and I don't see it as right or wrong. I just see it as where I was and what I was experiencing, creating for myself at the time. Those 6 months after I experienced those 3 endings in 2012, and I think back and look at them now in terms of, for example, those of you who are familiar with the tarot, I can see elements of the lightning struck tower, death, the devil even, and then slowly the magician, the fool, as I started to recover and work through a lot of it. I know that they have given me opportunities to connect with myself in ways that I hadn't realized I couldn't before. What I mean by this is that I went in and did a lot of internal work, self-reflection, introspection, asked myself why, and sought answers to all these questions. I guess I connected in with that part of myself that some would call higher self. Others may call the divine spark, or that eternal part of who we are. To me, I see it as the larger part of who I am that exists beyond this physical body and the physical world even. Through much internal work, I connected in and became one with this flow of energy, really. And I'm feeling that at the moment. So I connected in with this flow instead of resisting it as I had done, or not realizing how my thoughts and my feelings could cause such resistance. And in doing so, I reached a place where I didn't realize that I could experience and feel such happiness, such joy, and have such wisdom and insight into myself and the world around me. Words that spring to mind, and even these words don't quite do justice to these feelings, are euphoria and ecstasy and bliss. It's an amazing feeling, and I wake up every day looking at the world through brand new eyes, knowing that each day is filled with magic, with opportunities for me to connect with others, to connect with the world around me at always deeper and more profound levels. For those of you who are connected with me on Facebook, you may have noticed some posts I put on there about the magpie family that often drops in, sits on the balcony, and sings their hearts out to the sunset, to the sunrise, often also to the moon. And I've almost taken a leaf from their book and done the same. I find myself expressing appreciation for everything in my life. I find myself randomly singing to songs if they come on the radio, or dancing around the house, doing things that make me feel good and that I enjoy. So this journey of self-love, and it's not a destination, it's an ever ongoing process that we go through, and every day is a new day for me in terms of that journey. And sometimes I move out of that flow and feel sadness or feel frustration, as I mentioned in part 3 of self-love. Frustration and a little bit of anger as well, because of what felt like chaos around me. It's not about being perfect. It's about being more aware, as I see it, about being more aware and more conscious of what we feel, what we think, and the effect that has on us and the world around us. I hope this has gone some way to answering that question about self-love, as well as the question about why we would create for ourselves painful opportunities, painful experiences. Really, that's how I see them, as opportunities. I think everything that comes into our life is an opportunity for us to connect more closely with ourselves and with ourselves and with the world around us. So for me, it's really been about that shift in perspective and how I see myself and the world around me. So thank you for this opportunity to share this with you, and I hope that it resonates with you on some level. With all my love and regards.